Good morning and welcome to the News on New Day, live from the John Hammond Street at Kanda here in Accra. My name is Judith Awache Tando. Coming up in the headlines this morning. Health Minister Ashaiman says childhood vaccines will be available in a few weeks after 6 months of wait. Will touch base in 5 regional capitals where desperate mothers roam health facilities to get their children vaccinated. We'll also follow up on brutalities meted out to scores of male residents of Ashaiman by military personnel at a dawn soup over the murder of one of their own. Also in the bulletin, floods killed 2 children at Botiano in Accra. And on the foreign front, 2 of the 4 Americans kidnapped at gunpoint in Mexico found dead. Details of these stories and more coming up shortly. Please do stay. And the first story, the Ghana Armed Forces, GAF, has claimed the responsibility of the Tuesday, March 7 infamous Ashaiman operation. GAF says the swoop was a manhunt for some criminals who are suspected to have stabbed and killed a young soldier, Imoro Sharif, in the early hours of Saturday, 4th March at Ashaiman, Taifa. Komladum has the rest of the report.
The statement issued and signed by Director General in charge of Public Relations at the Ghana Armed Forces, Brigadier General Eric Agwekwashi, confirmed the Military High Command actually sanctioned Tuesday's swoop on the Ashaiman Taifa area here in Accra. According to the statement, it was not to avenge the killing of a young soldier in the area by some unknown assailants, but upon an intelligence operation to ensure they fish out the individuals who may have been part of the mob that killed their late soldier. The statement says after the swoop, a number of individuals, 184 of them, were picked up and are yet to be handed over to the police for screening. The statement was significantly silent about what happens to the individuals they describe as innocent who may have come in line of the fire from the soldiers on that day, as you see in this video, as individuals were flogged with horse whips, people were hit with the butts of a gun, and those who were asked to lie in the mud, others allegedly forced to drink mud water, and all of that. It will not be the first time the military is justifying its actions with respect to crowd control and civilian relationships, but the statements by the Ghana Armed Forces says they will continue to ensure that peace and harmony prevails in the Ashaiman Taifa enclave.
Well, let's stay on this subject. And scores of male residents of Taifa, a suburb of Ashaiman, picked up by military personnel in a Tuesday dawn soup, are yet to return to their families. Some personnel from the military stormed the neighborhood in what is believed to be an investigation into circumstances that led to the killing of a soldier. The community is in a self-imposed curfew since the invasion that has left the country in shock. Godwin Asadiba reports.
This military personnel in the wee hours of Tuesday morning brutalized civilians of Taifa, a suburb of Ashaiman, over the alleged murder of a 21-year-old soldier, Sheriff Imoro. Voices shouting in severe pain. Men and women in uniform who have sworn to protect the sovereignty of the Republic and its citizens were the very people inflicting unwarranted pain on unsuspecting citizens. 42-year-old Emmanuel Ameplenu is one of them. Seated in front of his home, wrapped with a cloth to cover up his painful bruises, Emmanuel is in discomfort.
They knocked on my door harder and dragged me out and beat me.
The military personnel are alleged to have forcefully broken into all rooms of Emmanuel's compound and dragged all the males who lived there and beat them to pulp. Some of them have been taken away by the soldiers.
I wasn't wearing a shirt.
Amedeka Believe just returned from the hospital after he says one of the soldiers used a gun to hit his head. According to Believe, he was freed because of blood oozing from his scalp uncontrollably.
They knock the gate where we know they open. Where they first open the gate, before us, where they make a can line that for where they be between. Where they carry us go the top there. Where they go take the gun knock my head, where the blood they come out, where they left me. So the people where they carry for the area, they carry them go where they no catch me. So they say I go hospital.
He said his senior brother has been taken away by the soldiers, including male tenants in this house. 19-year-old Courage Nyanato was asleep during Tuesday's dawn rains when the soldiers broke into his home.
I was just like, am I going to die? Because the beatings, they were using all sorts of things, wire, pipe holes, like all sorts of wood, like different things.
These huge sticks, you can tell, can be very hurting if it is used on a human body, but these military personnel use this on them, either innocent or not. They were all being beaten. This does not just happen here. If you walk around the vicinity here in Ashaiman, you can clearly tell that a number of people are still living in fear and panic. As of the time I got here, whilst we're trying to speak to some people, people were still taking to their heels because anytime they hear of any movement it makes them feel as though it is the military that is coming towards them. These plastic bottles you can see right here, I have been told by some of the residents that the military gave them water from these gutters. So they open up this plastic, get the water from the gutters, and then give it to people who were either going to work or walking around to drink, whilst they lashed them with those huge sticks that you saw earlier.
The soldiers were long gone, but the traumatized residents are still visibly shaken by the events and are still in shock.
Well, family of the late 21-year-old soldier Sheriff Imoro, who was allegedly murdered in Ashaiman, has been thrown into a state of shock and grief. Here's a report.
At the home of 21-year-old Sheriff Imoro, the soldier who was allegedly killed on Saturday, which led to this turmoil, the family is in agony. Sheriff's mother, Ifiachura, could not hold back her tears as she tells me more about her firstborn's lifestyle prior to the unfortunate news.
My son is very calm. He doesn't have friends around.
She said her son called in sick a few days ago from Sunyai, where he's stationed.
He told me he was coming to Accra, but he didn't tell me he was coming this soon. I'm in pain.
The entire family is in distress, but hopes they will get justice. At the police district headquarters in Ashaiman, preparations were underway for an autopsy to be conducted at the 37 military hospital. The Tuesday dawn brutalization of the residents of Taifa is but a constant occurrence that is a bloat on the military. The military hierarchy has been cited often as complicit in these occurrences, as rogue officers seemed to receive nothing, a slap on the back of their palm. Godwin Asidiba, TV3 News, Ashaiman.
Let's stay on this subject, and Deputy Minister of Defense Kofi Amankwa-Menu says the military hierarchy sanctioned the military coordinated operations, which resulted in the picking up of some young men in Ashaiman, a suburb of Accra. Now, whilst he apologized for the excesses created by the soldiers that were sent there, the Deputy Defense Minister said civilians murdering soldiers is becoming one too many. He spoke on TV3's Ghana Tonight.
Sometimes when operations are being carried out, you get one or two people who will be carried away, and then they engage in excesses. I mean, if anybody has suffered that, I think that it's only proper that we apologize. But what I want to put on record is that this is a military sanction coordinated operation. people must not only see the military as being gun-wielding people. We have all manners of in the military, and for them to really, for the military high command to sanction such operations, it means that they know exactly what they were looking for and exactly what they were doing.
Now, security expert Dr. Ishmael Norman has defended the military brutality at Ashaiman. He told Alfredo Kante on Ghana Tonight that those who condemn the military action do not understand their operations.
The law is a bit dicey about their right to cause arrest outside of the base. But when one of their members are involved and there is the mandate to stop harm to another person or another soldier or another civilian, then I think it is a bit not fair to play Tuesday night quarterback to try to see whether it was sanctioned properly or it wasn't sanctioned properly. I totally stand with the army. Esprit de corps is like a unit in the army, in every army in the world. It is not a body, it is a spirit of the soldier. When you kill one, you kill all. If they were trained criminologists and they were conducting criminal investigation from point of view of professional criminologists, I would not condone it. But these were amateurs and they were sent to basically look for the perpetrator, and they had to use whatever means possible. You can apologize later. So let us focus on the mission. They use whatever means possible available to them without causing any excessive harm to any civilian. We need to educate the Ghanaian public about the distance they need to keep when a police officer or a military officer wants to cause an arrest. The distance cannot be less than 20 feet. When you go near and you are using threatening body language or whatever, and you are talking nonsense, you allow them the right to use excessive force. The civilians, if you're going to rob somebody because you are too lazy to work, because you want an easy life, you're going to rob somebody, you don't have to make it into a murder case. And once you step beyond the boundary of decency, you allow indecency into the whole mix. You see a soldier, maybe they wanted to be a soldier themselves and they didn't get a chance, so they see a soldier. Out of jealousy, you attack the man, you took his phone, and then you kill him. What is the point of that? Every soldier will get upset. I was once a soldier, and when I heard it, I was very upset. Yes, the soldiers are 30% responsible for the excesses, but 70% in terms of contributory negligence goes to the civilians who chose to kill a soldier who had done nothing against them. I understand that, antebellum analysis of military action is always quite easy for people who have never been soldiers, because in the thickness of things, you don't have that rational judgment of deciding whether what you are doing is fair or not. Your goal is to get to the end of the mission. So I think we have to put it in a context. And the context is this: citizens have to be more responsible, more respectful of soldiers and police officers and immigration officers and all the members of our security agencies. When you attack one, you attack all.
Well, security expert Adib Sani has also been reacting to the military swoop.
Well, it is appalling. It is horrendous. Absolutely gobsmacked. This wanton display of lawlessness that makes me sometimes feel as if we are in the medieval era. This action is retrogressive. It is inconsistent with our democratic values. It is never the duty of the military to go arrest so-called perpetrators of a lynching. Inasmuch as I detest and condemn the killing of this military officer, Sharif. I also condemn the actions of these officers. And it is becoming one too many. We all know what happened in Wa because a so-called soldier's phone was stolen. They decided to hold the whole, neighborhood to ransom, Ejura and other places. It is worrying. But what I am still wondering is whether this was sanctioned from the top. Because when you take a closer look at the galvanization of human resource and military hardware, including, by the way, armored personnel carriers and even a chopper, it makes me wonder whether indeed there's no top-level complicity in what has happened. We have to investigate the matter in a holistic, transparent manner, and whoever is found culpable.
Well, the Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament is to investigate the military brutalities in Ashaiman following the killing of a soldier over the weekend. Civilians were subjected to severe beatings by the military after reports of the soldier being attacked went rife. Now, ranking member on the committee, James Agaga, says the conduct of soldiers was uncalled for.
From desperate residents that military or armed men have invaded the whole community and preventing people from coming out. I called the police commander what exactly was happening, and he told me yes, they also had the information that this thing was happening. Why was this thing happening? Because one of their own was killed in Ashaiman on Saturday, which I may condemn on no uncertain terms, because you cannot take anybody's life into your own hands. It is never done. And whoever has done that, I want the police and then the military to go after that person, arrest the person, and let the person face the full rigors of the law. But that is not to say that the military should take the law into their own hands by invading the whole community, the whole Ashaiman constituency, molesting people, molesting residents of the community, preventing them from going about their daily activities. It is not done. That is human rights abuse, because one or two people have committed a crime and you are looking for the perpetrators of such crimes. Therefore, everybody in the community has become a suspect all of a sudden. The Speaker will have to refer this matter to the Committee of Defense and Interior so that we probe into it, because this is becoming one too many. It happened in Wai, it happened in so many other areas. And so I'm urging the command to call their men back and the Speaker to institute a probe.
Apologies, that was MP for Ashaiman, Mr. Nobe, speaking there on that military swoop. But moving on to some other stories, parents will have to wait for a while as the Health Ministry works to procure childhood vaccines, which have been in shortage for the past months. The Minister of Health failed to provide a definite date for the arrival of the much-needed vaccines.
Minister Kweku Ashaiman has again failed to give a definite timeline. The nation is to expect the arrival of the childhood vaccines to give some peace of mind to parents.
Ghana's Minister of Health has been making efforts to ensure we secure adequate stocks of vaccines despite this global challenge. We have made all necessary efforts to ensure that despite these challenges, we secure adequate stocks within the next few weeks.
If we could get some dates to few weeks could be months.
I think that the Minister has been quite clear with the answers has been given.
A few weeks is not substantive enough to give some assurances to parents and families who need vaccines.
I think the response from the Minister is that in the next few weeks, all things being equal, we should get supplies now that all of those funds have been made available to the necessary platforms.
The Minister has also been explaining what he believes are contributing factors to the situation the nation finds itself in.
The recent shortage in vaccines for measles, regrettably as it is symptomatic of the steady global decline in measles vaccination since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. While vaccines against COVID-19 were developed in record time and deployed in the largest vaccination campaign in history, routine immunization programs were badly disrupted. We are using politics to drive people away from us. We are using politics to destroy this.
After all of this, it remains imperative for parents to make their babies available for the vaccinations when the vaccines arrive in the country. Noble Crosby Annan.
Now on to some more stories. A family in Botiano is mourning the death of 2 children after dawn's torrential rains. Now the building housing the 2 children and their mother collapsed during the downpour. Christian Yali reports.
That is Elizabeth Amwako, mother of the 2 children who perished in Tuesday's flood. She's totally broken, traumatized, and left in a state of utter shock, struggling to come to terms with how she lost her 2 children, aged 8 and 12. It was around 3 a.m. on Tuesday when torrential rains collapsed this mud structure housing them. All efforts to move the 2 children to safety failed as the gushing floodwaters carried the 2 children away.
We
all acted swiftly when the building collapsed. We tried to save the children, but our efforts were too late.
This is not the first time floods have claimed lives in the area. For the father, Ishmael Achu Sevoji, the death of his 2 children have taken away his happiness.
I have nothing to say. I only wish God could bring back my son, Morris.
Resident of Babadogo in Botiano, in the Botiano English Yamanfro constituency, cannot bury their emotions. They are calling on NADMO and individuals for urgent help for the family. Christian Yali, TV3 News, Botiano.
Now on the international front, 2 of the 4 Americans kidnapped at gunpoint in Mexico last week are dead and 2 are still alive, a Mexican state governor has said. Now 4 U.S. citizens were kidnapped by armed men on 3rd March while driving into the city of Matamoros in the northern state of Tamaulipas, Mexico, across the border from Texas. They had traveled there for cosmetic surgery, relatives told U.S. media. And that's how we wrap up the 6 a.m. news here on TV3. My name is Judith Awachitando. We'll be back shortly with the rest of New Day.